I enjoyed casting Dark so much last week that we've decided to invite him back. Let's just pretend this is like an evening talk show instead of some dude dialing up replays. Either way, definitely two favorites tonight, and wow, no Overlord for Dark, he's gone 12 pool. Better get those intros. It wasn't just a stormy night, it was also dark! His Protoss opponent eschews the minimum because he's MaxPax! So MaxPax has sent a hatch-blocking scout to the other side, but Dark, I wouldn't have thought had any plans of taking his natural at this point. That drone's like a fake. He's making it look like he's gonna take his third, but he's not. So where exactly is that drone going? MaxPax is gonna check the third where he assumes that drone went. He'll find it empty and his suspicion meter will go way up. Turns out Dark is accumulating minerals and going right for the Protoss base, so this is gonna be fun. He might use a hatch to block the wall here. Zerg players love to do wacky stuff on Beckett. MaxPax sees it, tries to block it. Drone gets in, he's not going for the wall, he takes the Protoss natural. MaxPax calls down an additional probe to get to work on that hatchery. Here come Dark's sixlings, and look at this, he ignores the probe in his natural. Lots of players get slowed down chasing that probe, but Dark is laser focused on what's important. MaxPax is chrono boosting a zealot, he gets the threat. He needs his door guard or that wall is open. He's gonna get it out in time though, it's gonna be close, but he gets it. So now this gets interesting. Can Dark get inside? Well, technically he's kind of already inside because he's got a hatch in there. And there's no zealot to take down the hatch because he's protecting the wall. A second zealot's on the way, but there's no chrono boost available for it. Dark is still making lings, but he's actually also making a second hatch at his natural now. So he's looking to do damage, not necessarily to win here. Core completes and MaxPax's gonna be able to make an adept now with his second gateway. 5 probes on the proxy hatch though. Is that enough to focus it down? Speaking of focusing down, I think Dark's gonna kill a zealot. He does! He might actually get 2 here. And then the door is open, more lings arriving. Oh, MaxPax investing in a second layer to his wall, so clutch. Hatch completes, queen is being made, but Protoss is gonna have double adepts very soon. They are ling killers, especially if MaxPax gets that shield battery up. Well, I don't know if that queen is gonna make it. What an intense game, I think that hatch is going down. Dark got his money back on the queen and the broodlings are out. The adepts are not ready for 6 extra attackers in their base. Fortunately for MaxPax, they do time out, and he pulls more probes to help contain. It is utter chaos in MaxPax's base. The first 3 minutes of this game have just been wild. Dark's natural hatch completes. The lings are chasing off the adepts, and the Protoss door is open. MaxPax had to cancel his shield battery too. Dark is trying to make some queens back at home. He's got 2 of them in the works. But he's still making lings. Now that he's got 2 hatcheries, he's got more larvae to do it. Despite all the chaos, MaxPax has way more workers and he's pulling in more minerals. He's actually sitting on a bank of money though, because he's trying to get a nexus down. Dark though is just not letting him do it. More lings on the way. Okay, here we go. MaxPax is gonna fire up that nexus. He's stabilized now. Oh, but he's not guarding his door. He's sending out his adepts. I don't think he realizes Dark has a second wave on the way. That's gonna be really bad for the Protoss, especially if those lings hit first. There is just not enough at home for MaxPax right now. MaxPax needs to re-wall. He sees it. Oh, if he didn't see that, that would have been game. Dark's lings cannot cut through that wall, at least not before the next adept gets here. However, the adepts are gonna find queens guarding the Zerg base. Can they use the shade? Oh, I totally thought that was real. That would have been an excellent shade for him. But MaxPax cancels, being very conservative with his adepts, and the lings are gonna get back home. That means Dark has the ability to pick up those shades now. And 2 adepts are just not gonna cut it, but I spoke too soon because MaxPax has put down a Twilight Council. He's gonna get himself a tech lead here, quite possibly with resonating glaives. I like the Twilight Council choice for Protoss, if for no other reason than it's the fastest tech. And this is a fast game. Warp Gate research almost done. Stalker coming out for Protoss and a Robo. Let's see if I'm right about that resonating glaives. It could even be blink now. Or even a sprint to a dark shrine. Zerg has no spores and he's got no lair. What Dark has done though is he's caught up on workers. He's actually got the worker lead now. And he's ahead on income. It is gonna be resonating glaives, but it's gonna need 100 seconds to complete. That's a lifetime in this game. Those two adepts causing so much attention damage and getting a lot of scouting intel for MaxPax. Warp Gates is finishing up and MaxPax is making probes 2 at a time now. And speaking of 2 at a time, he's adding 2 gates. That's gonna take him up to 4 gates. And there's a warp prism. We can see MaxPax's strategy now. He's responding to the rush with a glaive timing. Dark's onto him, he's looking to wall off his natural. He's doing it with a roach warren and an evo chamber. But do his roaches get here in time? Because those adepts are ready to go now. Oh, but if he delays to take a third, those roaches are going to be available to Dark by the time the adepts get over there. If he takes that third, we will see. Oh, he's adding a spine crawler to his wall. I really like that. Oh, MaxPax kills a scouting Ling. Did the Ling see the third, or did he see what MaxPax wanted him to see? Instead of spending his 400 on a Nexus, he spends 400 on more adepts. MaxPax is attempting a fake out. I don't know if Dark is falling for it though, because he is making roaches. Oh, and a Dark Shrine. There's going to be a second wave to this. But first, wave 1 is going to be all adepts all the time. He's adding in 4 more. Suddenly, this is a lot of firepower. MaxPax has the much bigger army here. Oh, maybe Dark did fall for it because he spent his money on a third. But really, he wanted army units. MaxPax is just going to power his way through that spine crawler. It melts. Queen's coming in to help because the Lings can't fight that death ball. 6 roaches coming. That's the help that Dark needs. Shade completes and the drones are caught transferring. Dark knows he can't defend 2 locations at once, so he's trying to get all his drones around his natural. MaxPax says, okay, I will meet you there. He takes control of the Zerg ramp. That's going to make it really hard to pack the roaches up. But once he gets them, he should be able to overpower the adepts. Unlike with the Lings, the adepts just get 0 bonus damage. MaxPax continually using that shade to split the Zerg army. Zerg has 3 hatches, but he's really down to 1 base by default. Now he's down to no bases. And MaxPax is warping in DTs. There's gonna be Death Operas in this game. I don't see a spore at all, and Dark hasn't started lair tech. The Death Operas are gonna reign supreme. He's got to get a spore right now. Oh, you get a sky. You get a sky. Then it's a GG. Dark's not gonna try for the detection. He sees the writing on the wall. Now that was a fun game. A great hold leads to a MaxPax victory. Defense in moments of chaos are so hard to pull off. Everything is falling apart. Your wall is breaking. You've got a hatch where your natural is supposed to be. You can't get a shield battery up, and somehow you manage to survive and get an economic lead and a tech edge. That's impressive. Also impressive is that MaxPax didn't take my advice. He made sure to actually let his zealots die in hold position because he knew he couldn't surrender his wall. But most impressive of all was that this hold wasn't against just anybody. This hold was against Dark. How good is Dark? Well, if you caught my video from last week, you have a pretty good idea. He's a top 10 player and has been for years. He's a GSL Code S champion, the 2019 WCS champ. Recently, the WTL hexagons came out for this year, and Dark's graph is amazing. If you haven't seen these before, let me show you. How does this work? Players get evaluated by a panel of Chinese Starcraft 2 experts that supposedly use coded software. The players get ranked by various categories such as macro, micro, strategy, defense, etc., etc. And then it gets plotted on a hexagon graph. If you haven't seen one of these before, hexagon graphs are used by Wall Street types to evaluate stocks. They're a neat way to show a conglomerate of strengths and weaknesses. Here's what Dark's looks like. It's basically a complete hexagon. He's an 8 out of 9 in almost every category, except for one. That's not what these graphs are supposed to look like. They're supposed to be staggered. For example, here's Haz's. It shows where he's strong and where he's not. It provides actual information. But Dark's chart, it's almost meaningless. It basically just says, yeah, he's ridiculously, insanely good and we have no idea why. Way to go, analysts and computers. And just for completion, here's MaxPax's hexagon, by the way. I don't know if they put his defense so low after what we just saw, but I'll defer to their expertise. Hey, and look, WTL doesn't have a photo of MaxPax either. Although, they do have a bit more class than I do, and they substitute an alien instead of an attractive model. What can I say? At this point, it's a tradition. Anyway, I've already cast next week's game, but I haven't edited it yet, but I'm kind of excited about it. Something cool happened, like really cool. Hopefully you won't miss it. So if you haven't subbed yet, maybe consider it. Because if you interact with my channel in some way, Google will know to run my vids by you from time, and maybe you'll be able to catch the game, and that way you can treat yourself to some 4K Starcraft 2 goodness. So I hope you're all doing well as the weather turns cold, unless you're like somewhere in which that is not happening, in which case never mind. Regardless, just let me say, from my base to yours, Zugzwang out. To continue your Starcraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Or you can stimpack your Starcraft experience. Subscribe to Zugzwang Starcraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.